In 2011, Evelyn Hayes was a respected, investigative journalist known for exposing corruption and uncovering dark secrets that others were too afraid to touch. Her relentless pursuit of the truth had earned her both admiration and enemies. But the case that would define her career and ultimately cost her everything remained unfinished. Evelyn had been investigating a series of unsolved murders in a remote town in the Midwest. The local police had dismissed the death as unrelated incidents, but Evelyn had discovered a disturbing pattern linking the victims to a powerful, secretive group of wealthy elites. These individuals held sway in both politics and business, and their dark connections seemed to stretch far and wide. Her last article, a detailed expose about the murders, was nearly finished. It was a chilling investigation into a network of influential figures, people who could not afford for their secrets to be exposed. But one morning, on May 3, 2011, Evelyn vanished without a trace. Her apartment was found just as she had left it, her laptop open, her files untouched, her belongings undisturbed. There was no sign of forced entry, no evidence of struggle. She had simply disappeared. The police assumed she had voluntarily gone off the grid, perhaps as a result of the dangers inherent in her work. But those close to her knew better. Evelyn would never leave in the middle of such an important investigation. Her last known article, a draft about the murders, remained unfinished. The document only outlined the victims and their connections to powerful individuals, but it offered no final conclusions. It was as though Evelyn had been interrupted just as she was about to expose the truth. The case went cold. Evelyn Hayes became a footnote in the world of true crime. Her disappearance was categorized as voluntary, and no one questioned the police's assessment. Max was a small-time YouTuber who ran a channel called The Truth Unraveled. He was not a journalist, nor a detective, just an ordinary man with an obsession for unsolved true crime cases. His channel had a modest following of subscribers, and he spent hours researching mysteries that had baffled the public. Most of his content was about disappearances, unsolved murders, and eerie mysteries. One rainy afternoon, while browsing old news articles for his next video, Max stumbled across a reference to Evelyn Hayes and her unsolved disappearance. Curious, he dug deeper, finding some interviews and archived articles about her investigation into the murders. He alerted that she had been close to uncovering something much larger than anyone realized. Max read through the last parts of Evelyn's research. She had been investigating a series of murders that seemed unrelated at first but were all connected to a powerful group of elites. These individuals had ties to the victims and had ensured that the truth behind their deaths remained hidden. Something about the case caught Max's attention. The unfinished article, combined with Evelyn's reputation for exposing hidden truths, convinced him to take on the investigation. Max uploaded his first video about Evelyn's disappearance, discussing the basics of her investigation. The reactions were mixed. Some subscribers were intrigued, while others thought it was just another internet sleuthing stunt. But Max became obsessed. He couldn't shake the feeling that Evelyn had been on the brink of discovering something that could change everything. Determined to learn more, Max began to dig into Evelyn's personal files. He discovered a tip from an anonymous source who claimed to have access to Evelyn's private research. Max met the source in a dimly lit parking garage, where the stranger handed him a USB drive. The drive contained dozens of encrypted files, documents, audio recordings, photographs, all left behind by Evelyn herself. As Max sifted through the contents, he found detailed descriptions of the murders that had been dismissed by the police as random acts of violence. Each victim seemed to have known something they shouldn't have, and as Evelyn's research revealed, each death was tied to a larger conspiracy involving a small group of wealthy elites. These figures, some of them high-profile business people and politicians, had orchestrated the murders to protect their darkest secrets. Max was stunned. The more he uncovered, the clearer it became. Evelyn hadn't just vanished, she had been silenced. But why? What had she uncovered that was so dangerous? Among the files was a series of audio recordings of conversations between Evelyn and her sources. The voices were distorted, but it was clear that Evelyn had been closing in on something major. The final recording, dated the day before her disappearance, sent a chill down Max's spine. A voice on the recording warned Evelyn to stop digging, that she was getting too close to something that could destroy them all. The threats begins. The first message arrived through his email: "Stop looking. You're next." Max dismissed it as a prank, but then things began to escalate. Strange phone calls came in, with no one on the other end. He would find cryptic messages on his social media accounts, warning him to stop his investigation. Max thought he could ignore it, but as the messages grew more menacing, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him. One night, he received an anonymous video. It showed a grainy, shaky view of his front door. The figure filming it remained out of focus, but the footage made it clear that someone had been watching him. Max's first instinct was to laugh it off, but a few days later, another video arrived. This time, it was a close-up of his face, filmed from outside his apartment. The unsettling part, Max hadn't noticed anyone outside. He realized that whoever was behind these messages had access to his life in ways he couldn't explain. And they weren't just trying to scare him, they were trying to stop him from continuing his investigation. Max decided to visit the town where Evelyn had last been seen, hoping to uncover more about the murders and perhaps learn what had happened to her. He arrived in the sleepy town with its quiet streets and hidden secrets. Max spoke to several locals who were reluctant to talk. Some hinted at strange happenings in the past. Others claimed to have seen wealthy families involved in odd rituals, but no one would give him a straight answer. The more Max pressed, the more nervous people became. He realized that the town's elite had a stranglehold on its residents, and anyone who spoke out risked losing everything. Max finally found a former police officer who claimed to know more. The officer whispered that there had been rumors of a powerful group that controlled much of the town's wealth, and that the murders were not random. The victims had stumbled upon something that tied them to this group, and they were silenced to protect the secret. Evelyn had been on the verge of revealing everything, but someone had made sure she wouldn't. Max's investigation had led him closer to the truth, but it was becoming more dangerous. The final straw came when Max received a live-streamed video with no explanation. The video began with a blurred image slowly coming into focus. It was Evelyn, or what appeared to be her, face pale, her eyes wide with fear. She was standing in front of a group of masked individuals in a dark room. A voice in the background, distorted but clear enough to understand, said, "The truth is buried forever. You should have never come here." Max's heart raced. He had finally uncovered the truth, but at what cost? A few days later, Max posted his last video. It was brief, shaky, and his voice trembled. He whispered, "I thought I was safe, but I'm not. If you find this, don't follow me. The truth is more dangerous than you know." Max's channel went silent after that video. His subscribers feared the worst. No one ever heard from him again. His disappearance mirrored Evelyn's in every way. The investigation into Evelyn Hayes' disappearance remained cold. No one was ever held accountable for the murders, and the powerful group she had been investigating remained protected, their secrets intact. But the truth, as Evelyn had warned, was buried, and anyone who got too close paid the price.